who are the people responsible for setting monetary policies of the United States. I don't mean who's in charge of surveillance, or guarding the president, or running secret agents and all that stuff. I mean, what are their names, where do they meet, and, most importantly, what do they do to set monetary policy? How does this affect your life? Plus, what goes into a Ben Bernanke speech? If you've lived in the United States, chances are you've encountered the Federal Reserve at some point. It's hard to overlook when they print money on paper that's worth exactly what it says it is. But how much do you really know about this entity? When asking most Americans, they would tell you they have something against the Federal Reserve. Have you ever wondered why? The truth is, it's not just America who, at one point or another, has been against the Federal Reserve System. Most republic countries of the world have fought against it. So what exactly is the Federal Reserve? Who are its creators and founding fathers? And why does it affect almost everyone in the United States? Many Americans are upset about the Federal Reserve, and for good reason. Few people understand its purpose or how it affects them. I will spare you the history lesson, but let me cut through the central bank rhetoric and explain why it's important to you. So, let's get started, shall we? A structure comprised of central banks. The acronym FRS refers to the Federal Reserve System for individuals who are unaware of its meaning. The Federal Reserve System is the name given to the Central Bank of the United States of America. The Federal Reserve System is in charge of overseeing and controlling the monetary and financial system in the United States. The Federal Reserve System is comprised of the Board of Governors, which has its headquarters in Washington, District of Columbia, as well as 12 regional Federal Reserve banks located in key cities all throughout the United States. Important concepts that one must understand. The Federal Reserve System, more commonly referred to simply as the Fed, serves as the central bank of the United States. The monetary policy of the nation and the supervision of the banking industry are both under the purview of the central bank, which is charged with their management. The FedWire is a payment system that is run by the Federal Reserve and is used to facilitate the daily transfer of trillions of dollars in value between financial institutions. The Federal Open Market Committee, which is responsible for formulating monetary policy for the Fed, has authority over the amount of money in circulation in the country. The Federal Open Market Committee is responsible for adjusting the target for the overnight federal funds rate in order to maintain control over short-term interest rates, an awareness of the inner workings of the Federal Reserve System. To name just a few of its responsibilities, the Federal Reserve is responsible for the monitoring and protection of consumer credit rights, the stabilization of the financial system, and the provision of financial services to the government of the United States. 3 of the wholesale payment systems that the Federal Reserve operates are known as the FedWire Fund Service, the FedWire Securities Service, and the National Settlement Service. The Federal Reserve is a significant force in both the financial and general economies of the United States. The current interest rate was publicized by them opening their mouths, so everyone knows what it is. Following the severe economic downturn that occurred in 1907, President Woodrow Wilson gave his signature to the Federal Reserve Act, which established the foundation for what is now known as the Federal Reserve System. It was the only significant economic power at the time that did not operate its own central bank. The Fed, which serves as the chief regulator for the Federal Reserve System, possesses a broad range of powers to ensure financial stability. Because no one else will lend to them, it acts as a last resort for the members of the group who are in need of financial assistance. Regulations pertaining to financial institutions in the United States are administered by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the states. It is necessary to take extra care. The official term for the payment system operated by the Federal Reserve, FedWire, transfers several trillions of dollars daily between financial institutions located all over the United States. The settlement of transactions takes place on the same day. Because of the financial crisis that occurred in 2008, the Federal Reserve has enhanced the amount of attention it pays to the manner in which payments are settled and reconciled at various times of the day. The Federal Reserve is applying pressure to large financial institutions in order to strengthen the only end-of-day monitoring of credit risk and payments that is currently available. In contrast to the Federal Open Market Committee, the Federal Reserve System is responsible for monetary policy. The Federal Open Market Committee, which is responsible for formulating monetary policy for the Fed, has authority over the amount of money in circulation in the country. This group consists of 7 members of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, the President of the New York Fed, and 4 of the remaining 11 regional presidents of the Fed. Members of this group serve 1-year terms that rotate on a yearly basis. The Federal Open Market Committee gets together 8 times per year to talk about the status of the economy and prospective shifts in monetary policy. The Federal Open Market Committee will hold meetings whenever they are deemed necessary. At each meeting, the FOMC conducts an assessment of the economy and revises its goal for the overnight federal funds rate. This target is responsible for determining the rates of short-term interest. When it wants to stimulate the economy, it lowers the goal rate that it is aiming for. In order to dampen economic activity, the federal funds rate is increased. The goal rate was reduced to 0.25% in 2008 when the economy was in a state of recession. It's your money, and the Federal Reserve is a good thing to be aware of. Like a lot of things, it can seem complicated at first. But once you get to know the players and the rules, understanding how our economy works isn't so difficult. At the end of the day, I think that's what this video boils down to. Even though the Federal Reserve is one of the most important companies in financial history and affects us all, most people don't seem to feel the need to know more about it. If anything, it seems like people are actively trying to ignore it. If you'd like to learn more about the Federal Reserve, feel free to check them out. Their site is open to the public, and they have a fairly detailed site with plenty of information, at least if you're interested in economics. They also provide transcripts for their meetings, which are frequently updated at the same place. If you want to find more information about how it works or how it has affected our world over the years, feel free to search elsewhere on the internet. This video hopes only to answer some basic questions about the Federal Reserve so that everyone can understand it regardless if they are involved or not. Were you aware of who the Feds are and their role in the economy? Do you have any additional information that others should know about this topic? Let us know in the comments section below or join the conversation on Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content to transform into smart money.